Discover the heartwarming journey of a billionaire CEO who became a pizza boy to find true love. Jason Merrick, a 34-year-old billionaire CEO, stood at the window of his sprawling Oakwood estate, surrounded by luxury that others only dreamed of. Elegant cars lined the driveway, each more extravagant than the last. Yet, on the inside, he felt an aching emptiness, a gaping void that riches couldn't fill. His family, steeped in old money and suffocating expectations, pressed him into an arranged marriage with a woman who checked all the right boxes of wealth and status. But she lacked something crucial, warmth. One day, in a reckless fit of rebellion, Jason made a decision that would change everything. He swapped his finely tailored suit for a simple delivery uniform and jumped into a pizza delivery car, embracing the freedom that came with the change. It was exhilarating and terrifying. He left behind the polished boardrooms to navigate the vibrant streets of Oakwood, each turn pulling him deeper into a world filled with laughter, authenticity, and connection, the very things his privileged life lacked. His heart raced as he made his first delivery to a modest apartment complex, the smell of fresh pizza wafting temptingly from the box. When the door opened, he was met by Maya, a single mother in her late 20s whose infectious laughter warmed the chilly evening air. She was a radiant spirit, juggling a baby on her hip while her young son played at her feet, joyfully oblivious to the struggles of their everyday life. They shared small talk, and every word exchanged felt like a glimmer of hope in Jason's otherwise monotone existence. With each pizza delivery, he felt a growing connection to Maya. Her resilience inspired him. She worked tirelessly to make ends meet, imparting stories of her dreams and ambitions. In those fleeting moments, Jason experienced empathy so foreign to him, a side of himself few had witnessed. Conversations unfolded like gentle waves, with each laugh and smile pulling him deeper into her world, a world he never truly appreciated until now. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Jason navigated his double life, though, reality loomed like a dark cloud on the horizon. The more he fell for Maya, the more he worried about his elite status crashing down upon them. One evening, at a pizza party for neighborhood kids, an ill-timed slip of the tongue revealed Jason's true identity. Whispers rippled through the crowd, and the joyous laughter turned to uncomfortable murmurs. Friends began distancing themselves from Maya, questioning how she could bond with a rich corporate guy. Feeling the pressure to conform tugging at him, Jason was torn between two worlds. He felt the weight of his family obligations pulling him back into the hollow existence he once called home. Yet, confronting this struggle ignited a flicker of hope within him. Would he be brave enough to follow his heart and advocate for the community that had welcomed him with open arms? In the quiet of that moment, amid his fear of losing Maya, something shifted in Jason. He knew he had to confront not just his family's expectations, but also the divides that separated the wealthy from those striving for better lives. He stood at a crossroads of love and loyalty, a heart full of hope battling against the pull of his privileged past. The question hung heavily in the air: could he forge a path to genuine love through the challenges that lay ahead? Jason's heart raced as he stood outside Maya's apartment, the warmth of her laughter still echoing in his mind. It was a Friday evening, and he had hoped for another delivery, for another chance to see her. The thought of her smile sent butterflies fluttering through his stomach. Would she be happy to see him again after what had happened at the party? He rang the doorbell, anxiety thrumming through him. Moments felt like hours until the door swung open and there she was, a little disheveled but glowing as she held her baby tighter, the toddler peering shyly around her legs. "Hey. Jason, right?" she said, a spark of surprise lighting her face. "Hi, Maya. I brought you something," he said, lifting the pizza box and offering. "Thought you might want a treat for the weekend." Her laughter was pure music, breaking through the tension. "You didn't have to. But thank you, I certainly won." Turned down pizza. As she invited him in, Jason felt a rush of warmth fill the room. The air was fragrant with spices and the faint sound of cartoons flickering in the background. He watched as Maya set the pizza on the coffee table, her movements fluid and graceful. She was fierce and gentle all at once, and it made him want to know her even more. They settled on the couch, the little boy climbing onto Maya's lap, stealing bites of pizza like it was going out of style. Jason smiled at the scene. It felt so real, so free, like a respite from the wealth that had once isolated him. As they shared pepperoni slices and small talk, his fears about how her friends viewed him began to fade. "Maya, about the party," he started, unsure how to continue. "Oh, don't worry about it," she interrupted, waving her hand dismissively. "People are just scared of what they don't understand. Their opinions don't matter. What matters is the people who are here, like you." Her words struck a chord deep within him. She sat there, effortlessly beautiful, radiating authenticity. It was a stark contrast to the expectations he faced daily within his high-status world. But just as quickly as hope bloomed, doubt crept in the shadow of his thoughts. He had a life to lead, one filled with responsibilities and obligations he couldn't simply abandon for this dreamy version of reality. What would his family do if they found out? What would the board say, the shareholders? "Maya, I want to be honest with you. I'm not just a pizza guy," he blurted, trembling with the weight of the impending truth. She blinked at him, her eyes as wide as saucers. "What do you mean?" "I'm Jason Merrick, you know, the Billionaire CEO, he confessed, a pit forming in his stomach. "I ran away from that life to find something real. And I think I've found it with you." Silence enveloped the room. Her expression shifted, a mixture of shock and something else, perhaps disbelief. But then came the smile, that same infectious joy that caught him off guard. "Well, wow, that explains a lot. Are you upset?" he asked, panic rising in his chest. "No, Jason. I'm just surprised. Honestly, I'm not sure how to feel. But you're still the guy bringing me pizza, and that's better than any suit." A wave of relief surged through him, yet he knew that navigating this new path would take courage. Jason reached for her hand, their fingers entwining in a warm clasp. "I want to be in your life, if you'll have me. But I need you to understand how complicated things might get." Just then, a loud knock on the door shattered the moment. Both of them jumped, the baby squealed, and Jason's heart sank as he sensed the intrusion. Who could that be? Maya whispered, her brow furrowing in concern. Jason's pulse quickened again. What if it was someone from his former life? What if they brought the chaos he fled? As Maya cautiously approached the door, Jason felt the familiar weight of fear settle over him. The very thing he had tried to escape was at his doorstep, and he realized, in that moment, the high stakes of what lay ahead. The door cracked open, revealing a figure cloaked in shadows. "Maya, are you in there?" The voice was unfamiliar but ominous. "What do they want?" Maya murmured, turning back to him, fear flickering in her eyes. Jason held his breath, aware that this moment could change everything. Would he have the strength to protect her? To stand firm against whatever threatened to invade this newfound happiness? Before he could answer, the door swung open wider, and a gasp escaped Maya's lips, leaving Jason on edge. What had he just let into their lives? Jason's heart pounded in his chest as the door swung open and light spilled into the dimly lit hallway. There, framed in the doorway, stood a tall figure, confident and imposing. The stranger's face was partially hidden in shadows, but Jason could see the intensity in his eyes, like lasers trying to penetrate the moment. "Maya," he said again, his voice cutting through the air with unexpected authority. "We need to talk." Maya, frozen in disbelief, clutched her baby a little tighter as Jason instinctively stepped closer, ready to shield her from whatever threat loomed in the doorway. "Who are you?" he demanded, trying to hold his ground even as dread coursed through him. The figure leaned slightly forward, allowing Jason a glimpse of a chiseled jaw and a stern brow. "I'm Ben, Maya's brother. We need to figure out what is going on." Maya's brows knitted together, a wave of confusion washing over her features. "What do you mean? I thought you were busy with Sarah's wedding." "Things changed." He turned his gaze to Jason, his expression skeptical. I heard there's been some complications. Jason felt a rush of emotions. Was this complication him? The truth hung heavy over them, and he could sense Maya's anxiety vibrating in the air between them. Ben, she pleaded, just let me explain. No, Maya. You don't need to explain anything, he interrupted. But I'm not leaving without understanding this. Who is this guy? Before she could respond, Jason stepped forward. I'm Jason. I'm just some delivery guy. Ben scoffed, dismissing him with a wave. I heard about you at the party. So what's this? A cover-up to protect her? His eyes narrowed. Or is it something deeper? Maya's hand shook slightly, and Jason could see the tension pulling at her features. It's not like that, she said softly, but there was a quiver in her voice. Isn't it? Ben pressed, his tone harsh. You've been acting different, Maya. You think I wouldn't notice? Jason felt the wounds of his previous life ache at the scrutiny, feeling attacked without even knowing the full context. Every instinct told him to counter Ben's accusations, to defend both himself and Maya. But instead, he stayed silent, allowing her space to find her words. Maya needs someone real, someone who won't treat her like she's less than herself. He finally spoke up, more to validate Maya than to clarify his position. That's all I am. An imperfect man wanting to be a part of her world, however messy that may be. Her eyes softened a bit, and he could see gratitude mixed with pain. She needed this moment to decide where she stood. Ben's expression shifted, surprise evident on his face. And you think you can just waltz in here after hiding who you really are? I'm not hiding anymore, Jason argued, frustration bubbling beneath his surface. I came here because I want to be honest and because Maya deserves honesty, no matter how complicated it gets. Honesty? Ben scoffed again, stepping closer. What's really complicating this is your past. What happens when your family finds out? When the company discovers you're playing house with a single mom? Maya flinched. The silence was deafening, heavy with the weight of those words. Jason's heart sank as Ben's accusations echoed in his mind, made worse by Maya's reaction. He didn't want to be the source of her pain. Taking a breath, he reached for Maya's hand, squeezing it gently as he looked into her eyes. I'm here for you. I want to fight for us, he said softly, conviction rising. Whatever it takes. Her expression softened, and something flickered their hope. Maya, think carefully about what you want, Ben warned, his tone growing serious. I want to let him hurt you again. Ben, she breathed, torn between her loyalty to her brother and the real connection she felt with Jason. Suddenly, the baby began to whimper, shifting uncomfortably on Maya's lap. The tension in the room was palpable, and Jason could feel the weight of decisions pressing down on them. As securing safety diminished in the background, a flicker of resolve sparked within him. I want to let you down, he promised Maya, speaking to her soul with an urgency he hadn't intended. But would that be enough? Could he really protect her from everything threatening to invade their lives? Just then, a text chime sounded from his phone, breaking the moment. It was a company alert, and Jason's stomach dropped. The chaos he ran away from was catching up to him and threatening to derail everything he'd just begun to build. As all eyes turned to him, the air thickened with uncertainty. What if the very thing that tied him to his old life could destroy the new one he desperately wanted to build? Jason felt all the blood drain from his face as he stared at the glowing screen of his phone. The company alert pulsed like a siren, and he realized he had to make a choice again. Is everything okay? Maya's voice was small, her eyes filled with a mix of concern and vulnerability, like she was waiting for him to declare his whole world safe, even if he wasn't sure himself. He forced a smile, but it didn't reach his eyes. It was a facade, a band-aid over the truth that was clawing at him. Yeah, just work stuff, he lied, pocketing the device without glancing at it again. He didn't want to bring that chaos into this fragile moment. Ben's eyes were laser-focused, taking in every nuance, every flicker of uncertainty. If he's hiding things, if there's anything else, you have to know, Maya. Maya's grip on the baby tightened, her expression wavering between fear and hope. "I just need to know what's real," she whispered, her voice barely above the sound of the baby's soft whimpers. "With you, Jason, and with everything." "I'm real," Jason insisted, his voice steadying as he stepped into the light. "I may not be perfect, but I'm willing to fight for you and your son." "Sounds good in theory," Ben cut in, crossing his arms. "But love is just one piece of this puzzle, and I'm not going to stand back while your life falls apart, Maya." Jason's heart pounded anew at Ben's words. The tension between the brothers felt like a live wire, sparking with every shared glance. Just when it seemed like they might reach a consensus, the baby started to wail, cutting through the negative energy. Maya's instinct kicked in. She bounced the baby gently, murmuring soft words of comfort. "Shoo, it's okay, my love," she soothed. Jason watched her, the way she looked down with such warmth and compassion. He could feel the weight of that love. It was beautiful and terrifying at once. He wanted to protect that light in her eyes. "Maybe Ben's right, though," Jason said, choosing his words carefully as Maya soothed her baby. "Maybe I don't know what this world looks like yet. I left mine behind, but I don't want what I was to ruin what we could be." Maya met his gaze, her eyes searching. "What was that world for you, Jason? What are you leaving behind?" He opened his mouth to respond, but the truth tangled in his throat. His past wasn't something he could share casually. A lot of pressure, expectations, he finally managed, hoping it was vague enough not to reveal how deeply he was ensnared by circumstances he couldn't shake. "Pressure from a family that doesn't understand you?" Ben questioned, stepping closer, almost invading Jason's personal space. "What would they think if they saw you now? A pizza delivery guy?" There was no hiding the disdain in Ben's tone. Jason clenched his fists, fury building, but he fought it down. "What matters is how I choose to live now." "It's time to make a choice, Maya," Ben urged, his voice urgent. "You can't just dive into this without knowing what lies ahead. It's not just you anymore." Jason ran a hand through his hair, anxiety bubbling up. This wasn't just about him and Maya. It was about the small life they were beginning to build, real or not. Maya glanced down at her baby, their connection undeniable. Then she took a deep breath, her shoulders visibly relaxing. "I want to believe in this, in us," she said softly but firmly, "but it's scary." Ben sighed, exasperated. "Just remember, you have options. You don't have to fight your battles alone. You have family." Jason felt a crack forming in his heart. "I want to be that family for you." His voice was filled with raw sincerity, hoping to break through the wall they were building. The baby quieted, and in that brief silence, Maya's eyes flickered with something more profound: curiosity, fear, but most importantly, a glimmer of hope. But what if hope was nothing more than a fragile dream? Then, chaos erupted as Jason's phone buzzed again, this time with a call. The name on the screen made his breath hitch. "It's my dad," he said, and Maya's face fell, momentarily replacing hope with uncertainty. Could his past, the very thing he was trying to escape, creep back in and steal away everything he wanted? Suddenly, all their eyes were fixed on him. How could he bridge two worlds when the chasm between them seemed impossibly wide? Jason's fingers hovered over the phone screen, the noise in the room fading. Panic sparked in his chest. He felt like he was standing on the edge of a precipice, peering into an abyss filled with everything he feared. Swallowing hard, he forced himself to press the answer button. "Hello?" he said, trying to keep his voice steady, but it cracked at the edges. "Jason," his father's voice came through, cold and authoritative, echoing memories of disappointment and judgment. "We need to talk." "About what?" Jason's heart raced, each word feeling like a punch in the gut. Sunlight streamed through the window, illuminating Maya's face, but all Jason could see was shadow. "It's about the family business. You're still listed as a partner, you know," his dad continued, oblivious to the turmoil in Jason's mind. "We have a meeting next week. You need to make it." Jason could hear the edge of irritation paired with obligation, a tone that always assured him he wasn't quite good enough. I can't just drop everything. I have my own life now, he said, glancing at Maya, hoping she could see how fiercely he wanted to protect their fragile thread of happiness. Your life? As a delivery guy? His father's laughter rang hollow. You're wasting your potential, Jason. This isn't who you are. The words hung in the air, and Jason felt Maya's eyes on him, searching. He saw the tension in her brow and the way she cradled the baby as if guarding them both against the storms he brought. Who I am is my choice, Jason replied, a little louder than intended. I'm not coming back. Not now. Not ever. You'll regret this, his father shot back, a threat laced in that familiar tone. Your mother and I won't sit by while you throw it all away. This isn't just about you. You have a responsibility to the family legacy. And just like that, the weight of expectations crashed down on him. Jason clenched his jaw, anger rising, mixing with the fear of what daunting shadows could re-emerge. I'm not interested in a legacy tied to unhappiness. Think about it. We both know what happens when you turn your back on family, his dad warned, the threat simmering beneath the surface like a rising tide. The call ended abruptly, leaving Jason staring at the silent screen, words between them unspoken and potent. Maya's hand reached out, warmth intertwining with the coldness he had just experienced. What do you want, Jason? She asked softly, her eyes searching for clarity. What do I want? That was a question he had avoided for far too long. The answer felt buried under mountains of fear and doubt. Just a moment ago, they were wading through possibilities together, and now hesitation pressed like a lead weight. His pulse thudded as he considered the future. I want. Jason paused, his breath stuck in his throat. I want us to be okay. I want to make this work for you and your baby. I want to be the person that Maya's gaze deepened. But your past is calling you back. Can we build a future on that uncertainty? Before he could answer, Ben shifted closer, his worry palpable. You need to make a decision, Jason. It can't just be about the two of you anymore. This baby needs stability. You can't fight what you ran away from forever. Jason rubbed a hand across his forehead, frustration mixing with a desperate need for resolve. I can't just jump back into the life they want for me. That's not living. Maya's eyes softened, something akin to understanding reflected back at him. You have the power to face your past, to create your own definition of family, she said, her voice a lifeline in troubled waters that he wanted to believe that. A part of him longed for connection, the kind that was not stained by chains of obligation and expectation. Suddenly, Jason felt a swell of courage pooling deep inside. With trepidation, he glanced back at his phone, feeling the siren call of that old world. I think I need to confront it. To stand my ground. But just as the words left his mouth, the baby let out a soft whimper. Panic jolted through Maya. I have to check on him. Jason watched as she stepped away, her face pulling taut. With concern. In this moment, the chasm between his worlds felt wider than ever. Could he truly hold on to the family he was desperate to create while facing the one he had fought to escape? The question loomed large as he stood in the silence that followed, the future uncertain yet waiting for him to make his move. Just then, another notification buzzed on his phone, pulling him back into a storm of distractions. He hesitated again, heart pounding. What new bombshell awaited him now? Jason's heart raced as he lifted his phone, the notification lighting up the screen. A message, glaring and uninvited, from his father's number. You think you can just walk away? It read, cold and accusing. The message felt like a knife, and Jason's stomach twisted at the weight of his father's expectations. He had barely taken a step toward freedom, and already it felt like chains were tightening around his ankles again. That he stood up abruptly, running a hand through his hair. The walls felt like they were closing in. He glanced at Maya in the other room, her silhouette framed by the soft light of the baby's bedroom, and guilt clawed at him. He wanted to keep them safe, away from the bitterness that had defined his relationship with his parents. Yet, here he was, tethered once more to that same darkness he had fought so hard to escape. Maya, he called out softly, the urgency in his voice making her turn. Can I tell you something? She looked cautiously hopeful, stepping into the light, the baby cradled against her. Of course. What's on your mind? I got another message from my dad, he confessed. It's just a reminder of everything I'm running from. Maya moved closer, her expression shifting to one of understanding mingled with concern. Jason, you can't let that hold you back. You've got to define your own path, your own family now. I know, he said, voice cracking. But it feels like every time I try to step away, something pulls me back. It's like I can never truly escape. Maya set the baby down in the crib, her movements gentle and deliberate. What if you faced it head on? You don't have to go back to who you were, but you can confront that part of your life without letting it dictate your future. The truth in her words resonated deep within him. He had hidden for so long. It was time to rise. But a creeping hesitation gnawed at him. What if I can't handle it? What if I end up hurting you and our baby? Then we face it together, she said straightforwardly, her eyes unwavering. You can't walk this path alone. You never have to. Jason took a deep breath, feeling her support wrap around him like a warm blanket. There was strength in that simple promise. He could fight against the weight of his past, but he didn't have to do it in isolation. He nodded, determination seeping into his veins. You're right. I need to talk to him, confront everything he has been saying. I can't let his words control me anymore. I have you and our baby to protect. This is my shot to break free. A wave of relief washed over Maya as a smile broke through her earlier worry. That's it. And whatever happens next, you've got me. There was a warmth in her expression that lit a fire in him. Jason walked back to his phone, hesitating before opening the message. I'll set a time to meet him. I need to do this on my own terms. Just then, a soft cry echoed from the baby's room. Jason's heart accelerated, but this time it wasn't panic. It was the connection of family that needed him, wanted him, and believed in him. Jason turned to Maya, who had already kneeled by the crib, talking softly to their baby. Her soothing presence reminded him that he was not just battling his past, he was building a future. With shaky hands, he typed a response to his father, I'll be there. We need to talk. As he hit send, a deep breath freed the tension in his chest. The unknown loomed ahead, yet he felt a thrill in the air, an electricity woven with possibility. Could he shift the narrative of his life, confronting the shadows with a new light? Time would tell. Just then, Maya looked back at him, her brow furrowed. You're sure this is the right thing? Once you open that door, there's no closing it. Jason felt his heart thud in sync with her concern. I know. But I have to try. As the clock ticked toward that looming confrontation, he felt the weight of his decision settling around him. Would he find the courage to change the script of his story? Outside, a car's horn blared, a harsh reminder of the chaos still waiting for him. The air thickened with palpable tension, and Jason knew this was just the beginning. The morning light poured through the kitchen window, casting warm hues across the table where Jason sat, lost in thought. He stared unblinkingly at the coffee cup in front of him, feeling its warmth seep into his palms. Maya moved about the room, humming softly as she prepared breakfast. It was serene, a stark contrast to the whirlwind inside his mind. His phone buzzed again, pulling him from his reverie. Another message from his father. A knot formed in his stomach. He couldn't help but think about their last conversation. You'll regret this, his father had warned. Jason grimaced, holding on to the night's determination. Regret would not be a part of his story anymore. Are you okay? Maya's voice broke through his thoughts, gentle as a whisper. She was pouring orange juice into glasses, her brows slightly wrinkled with concern. Yeah, just thinking about the meeting. Jason's voice had the weight of stones. Your dad? He nodded. The name was enough to spark tension. She joined him at the table, her eyes reflecting understanding. It'll be okay. Just remember why you're doing this, she said softly. For us. He swallowed hard. She was right. He was fighting not only for himself, but for her and their baby. The privilege of a fresh start weighed heavily on him, shining bright on the horizon he couldn't ignore. Suddenly, the clock ticked louder than before. It felt like a countdown to something monumental. Jason pushed the uneaten breakfast aside, feeling a surge of anxiety. He had promised himself he wouldn't run anymore. He would stand tall, no matter the outcome. "Can I take the baby for a walk with me? Just for a bit?" Maya's voice cut through his thoughts yet again. "Sure, that sounds nice." He smiled faintly. The thought of her and their child enjoying the outdoors eased some of the tension in his chest. As she left the house, he couldn't shake the feeling of impending confrontation. What if he failed? The fear clung to him like shadows, dark and suffocating. Minutes trickled by with every tick of the clock. He stood, pacing the floor, running through what he wanted to say in his mind. "You don't control me anymore," he muttered under his breath. The door swung open, and Maya returned with a cheerful baby in her arms. Their little one giggled as she bounced gently. "Look who is so excited." She beamed, but then her face softened, concerned for him. "Are you sure about this?" He nodded, though doubt flickered behind his eyes. "I have to confront him. No more hiding." Maya placed the baby securely in the high chair, her gaze unwavering. "Remember, no matter what he says, you're stronger than you think. Don't let him take that from you." Jason let out a breath he didn't realize he had been holding. "I want. I can't." Just then, the doorbell rang, jolting him. Heart racing, he glanced at Maya, who nodded with reassurance. "Let me get it. You stay here." She picked up the baby, handing him the soft toy they had just bought. As she opened the door, Jason could hear muffled voices. Tension knotted tighter around him. For a moment, he thought it might be his father showing up earlier than expected. But it wasn't. It was someone from his past, an unexpected face that could either build up or shatter everything he was trying to achieve. Jason's gut twisted. Who could it be? A part of him longed to hide, to retreat back to their safe world, but this time, he took a step forward. With each moment, the layers of his former life chipped away. He had chosen his path. "Jason?" Maya called from the door, surprise thick in her voice. "You need to see this." What did she mean? He took a deep breath, heart hammering in anticipation. This was just another turn in his journey, another piece of the puzzle he had yet to solve. He knew whatever was waiting for him behind that door would change everything, and perhaps not for the worst. With a resolve strengthened by love, he stepped toward the doorway, the future unfolding one heartbeat at a time. Who was waiting for him on the other side? Jason took a tentative step toward the door, his heart thumping like a drum in his chest. Curiosity and apprehension twisted inside him. He had braced himself for a confrontation with his father, but now the uncertainty loomed larger. What if this visitor was a reminder of all he was trying to escape? Maya's voice spilled into the kitchen, mingling with the sound of the baby's laughter. He turned the corner, half expecting to see an old friend, maybe a former colleague, but it was none of those. Standing just beyond the threshold was Rachel, his sister from a time long past. Her eyes were wide with excitement, but they also glimmered with something deeper: vulnerability, a hint of an apology perhaps. "Jason?" she said, her voice soft, tentative. He faltered for a moment. "What are you doing here?" The question came out sharper than intended, loaded with all the history they shared, the childhood battles, the sibling rivalries, the betrayal when she had sided with their father during his darkest days. I wanted to talk." Her hands wrung together nervously, a habit he remembered all too well. Maya's smile faded slowly as she assessed the situation, feeling the tension radiate between the two. "Maybe we should step outside?" "No." Jason felt a rush of protectiveness. "It's okay, Maya. This is family." He turned his focus back to Rachel. "What do you want?" Rachel leaned slightly, her voice barely above a whisper. "I heard about your meeting with Dad. I'm sorry for how things ended between us. I didn't know he'd push you out. I have to do this. I have to stand up for what's right. Jason crossed his arms, feeling the weight of their history and his newfound resolve clash in his chest. I know. And I realized I should have supported you. She took a slow, cautious breath. Dad won't change, Jason. But I'm not him. I figured it's time I told you how much I regret not being there when you needed me. It's my fault things got this far. Her words hung in the air like smoke, thick and palpable. He caught Maya's concerned gaze behind him and the giggles of the baby in the high chair behind her. Everything about today's choices echoed with weight. Was he ready to forgive? Could he extend that grace now, especially after what was at stake? Before Jason could respond, something in his chest shifted. He felt a rush of emotion. Why now? He asked, his voice wavering. After all these years, why do you care? With tears shimmering in her eyes, Rachel took a step forward, lowering her voice. Because I see you. I see the life you're building. I want you to know I'm proud of you. I want to be a part of it, if you'll let me. The past loomed heavy, but it was mingled with a possibility he hadn't expected. A chance for redemption, a glimmer of hope for the sister he had lost. I need time, Jason finally said. You have to understand that. I do, she replied earnestly. I'll wait. Maya shifted from uncertainty to a hopeful smile. Maybe this can be a new chapter, Jason. For all of us. He searched his sister's face, uncertainty and yearning intertwined. If he could open his heart, maybe they could heal. Or perhaps it was dangerous to tread this fragile ground. Just then, the baby's hands reached out for him, a reminder of the innocence and unconditional love he was building his life around. Can I hold her? Rachel asked, her voice softer now. Jason hesitated. Could he trust her? But then he saw the longing in her eyes, the same longing he felt himself for connection. All right, he said slowly, but only if you promise to be different. As he handed over the baby, Jason felt an unexpected swell of hope. Maybe, just maybe, this was the beginning of a new journey from broken ties to healing bonds. But as the door swung wide, revealing the warmth of the sun outside, he knew he had to confront his father soon. The past was begging to be dealt with, and he could no longer afford to hide. As Rachel laughed softly with the baby in her arms, Jason felt the two worlds he'd always kept apart beginning to intertwine. Yet, in the back of his mind, the thought loomed, would this fragile piece survive the storm he had to face? With a heart full of conflicting emotions, he couldn't shake the question swirling in his mind. How far would he have to go to reclaim everything he had lost, and could he do it without losing himself? Rachel cradled the baby gently, her eyes glistening with a mixture of joy and something more profound of vulnerability that Jason hadn't seen for years. He watched her, each soft coo from the baby like a fiddler's tune, pulling at the strings of his heart. What should I say? Rachel asked, peering down at the baby. What's her name? Ella, Jason replied, a smile breaking free. Ella Grace. That fits her perfectly, Rachel said, her expression softening. For a fleeting moment, the past felt like a distant memory. Perhaps they could forge something new, but the old wounds still lingered, casting long shadows. Maya leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, watching the two of them intently. You know, your dad is going to flip when he sees you, she said cautiously. Are you sure this is the right time? Jason's heart sank at the mention of their father. The decision to meet him was looming large, like a storm cloud ready to burst. I've put it off long enough. It's time to face him, head on. Rachel straightened, the baby still nestled in her arms. You don't have to do it alone, Jason. I know we've had our issues, but I'll be there for you. This time, I'm choosing you. He felt her words wrap around him, comforting and, yet, they came with a weight he couldn't ignore. How can I trust you? How do I know it won't end like last time? Trust is built, not given, Rachel replied, her voice earnest. I'm not expecting miracles, but I want to be part of your life. I've learned that family means sticking together through the storms. Jason's gaze drifted to the window. The sun painted warm hues across the room, but the shadows of doubt still lurked. We can't just act like everything is perfect. There are issues that need to be addressed, and Dad is at the center of them. As long as you don't let him tear you down again, Rachel warned, her tone shifting from hopeful to serious. You're stronger than I ever gave you credit for, Jason. A flicker of determination sparked. I have to be for Ella. She deserves better than what we had. If I'm going to break this cycle, I have to confront it all. Maya stepped forward, her support palpable. You've got this, Jason. Just remember, your happiness matters as much as the past you're trying to resolve. He nodded, bolstered by their encouragement. Each word was a stepping stone, bringing him closer to a truth he desperately needed to face. But one looming concern held him tight. Was Rachel truly different this time, or was it all just a facade? Ella let out another small laugh, her innocent gurgles reminding him of the pure joys in life. They felt so far from the tumultuous chaos centered around his father. Let us just take it one step at a time, he finally said, his voice steadying. I'll talk to Dad, and I'll keep you all in the loop. Rachel's face brightened, relief washing over her features. And I'll be there, ready to support you however you need. But before Jason could get completely drawn into that moment of hope, the squeal of tires skidded to a halt outside the house. His stomach dropped, the familiar vehicle signaling the arrival of their father. As he turned to the door, heart racing in anticipation, he felt the weight of all that was about to unfold: possible reconciliation, the potential for new beginnings, but also the chance of that familiar pain resurfacing. Jason, no. Maya's voice quivered at the tension built in the air, his breath hitched as he stepped forward. The door had to open, even if darkness awaited him on the other side. Would he have the strength to stand against the fear that had held him hostage for so long? Time seemed to stretch in a painful silence. The next move would determine everything. As he grasped the doorknob, Jason couldn't help but wonder, was he truly ready to confront his past? As Jason opened the door, the day hung in the balance like a taut string ready to snap at any moment. Outside, the familiar imposing figure of his father stood, framed by the afternoon light that streamed behind him. The tension in the air was almost palpable. Jason, his father said, voice like ice, cutting straight through the fragile calm. We need to talk. Now. Taking a deep breath, Jason felt a wave of strength wash over him. This was at the moment to reclaim his life. He squared his shoulders, feeling Maya's presence behind him like a warm embrace. You can come in, but this has to be on my terms. The flicker of surprise in his father's eyes quickly morphed into annoyance. Your terms? Don't be ridiculous. I'm your father, and I know what's best for you. No. You don't, Jason replied firmly. You've made it clear for years what your version of best looks like, and it's not what I want. Rachel stepped slightly forward, the baby nestled against her chest. We're here for Jason. He's building a life that makes him happy, not one defined by you. His father's gaze darted between his children, bewildered. What is this? Who do you think you are, coming in here? Jason felt the weight of the moment press down hard, but with determination, he took a step forward. I'm not just your son, Dad. I'm also a man who's realizing what truly matters. From behind him, Maya spoke with quiet strength. You must recognize that Jason is not the boy you remembered. He's become someone who seeks real happiness and connection. His father's face contorted in disbelief. So, you think being a pizza delivery guy is a step up? At that, Jason's heart clenched. That job taught me more about life in a few weeks than the career you planned for me taught me in years, he said, voice steadying. I learned the value of people. I found love, purpose, and family, real family. Silence fell. It buzzed like electricity in the air, charging the space around them. You think you found family? His father scoffed, eyes narrowing. A single mother and her child? This isn't right. You can still come home. You can still be saved. No more. I'm not going back to that life, Jason declared, pain and conviction intertwining in his voice. I want to go back to a life where I felt suffocated by expectations and a lack of genuine affection. Then what do you plan to do, Jason? His father challenged, a bitterness coating his words. I plan to build a life that is real, Jason said, his heart swelling with clarity. One filled with open conversations, laughter, and love. One with these people standing beside me. Maya, Rachel, and the baby shared a quiet moment of connection, supportive and steady. It was everything Jason had yearned for, a true sense of belonging. His father took a deep breath, seeming to shrink beneath the weight of his son's declarations. Twin emotions flickered over his face, fury mixed with a hint of concern. You're throwing everything away? No. I'm reclaiming everything. Jason replied, the warmth in his voice rising. I've stepped away from everything that held me back. It's time to break this cycle of chains, and I need to do it for Ella. His father's stern facade crumbled, revealing confusion and a glimmer of fear. I don't know how to just let you go, he admitted, his voice softer, filled with vulnerability. Jason felt the room shift, as if bricks were falling away from an old wall. You can't hold me hostage anymore, Dad. My life is my own. But if you want to be a part of it, you need to let go of the past. They stood on the precipice of a new possibility, the air around them filled with potential. His father shifted, the emotional weight beginning to settle. Maybe I can try, he said, each word coated in hesitation. Jason stepped closer, determination surging through him. It starts now. We face everything together, as a family, without illusion. As the walls of old tensions began to crumble, the warmth of hope flooded the room. Jason glanced at Maya, who smiled brightly, and Rachel, who reached out a hand to cradle Ella. His heart felt as if it could explode with the sheer force of love surrounding him, a family, imperfect but real, built on honesty and connection. His father stood silent for a moment, wrestling with the maze of his own emotions. Then, slowly, he nodded. I'll try. For my family. In that instant, everything changed. The storm clouds rolled back. And with each step forward, Jason realized he was not just confronting his past. He was paving a promising future, one where love reigned, where connection mattered, and where he was no longer just a piece in someone else's game. As tears of relief glistened in Maya's eyes and joy danced in Rachel's smile, Jason felt the rush of knowing he was finally free. He had taken the jump, embraced his truth, and in doing so, had found everything he wanted: the warmth, the connection, and the love that filled his heart to bursting. Now, they would walk this journey together, towards a future bright with possibility. This was just the beginning. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support matters. Comment your reactions and feelings about this emotional journey. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.